Clashes erupt as curfew lifted in Kashmir Valley after a week. Protest marches taken out against the hanging of Afzal Guru. Clashes erupt as curfew lifted in Kashmir Valley after a week. Protest marches taken out against the hanging of Afzal Guru. And now the news in detail. In Kashmir, violence today returned as an attempt was made to bring normalcy to the strife-torn region. As curfew was lifted after 7 days, clashes broke out in parts of Valley and Srinagar against the hanging of Parliament attack case convict Afzal Guru. Protesters demanding the mortal remains of the Sopore man fought pitched battles with the police, hurling stones at them at Bohri Kadal, Rajouri Kadal, Nohata Chowk, Zaina Kadal. Clashes also rocked Mutton Chowk, Lazibal, Kadipora, Chini Chowk and Malaknag and Anantnag and Sangrama, Khwajabagh and Tehsil Road in Baramulla. CRPF personnel fired rubber bullets and tear gas shells to disperse the stone pelters. A number of protesters were injured. However, heavy stone pelting in downtown area and tear gas shelling continued when this report was filed in. So that's the big story at this hour in Kashmir. Violence returned once again today as an attempt was made to bring normalcy to the strife-torn region. As curfew was lifted after 7 days, clashes broke out in several parts of Kashmir Valley and Srinagar against the hanging of the Parliament attack case convict Afzal Guru. Protesters demanded mortal remains of Sopore man and fought pitched battles with the police, hurling stones at them at Bohri Kadal, Rajouri Kadal, Nohata Chowk, Zaina Kadal, Mutton Chowk, Lazibal, Kadipura, Chini Chowk, Malaknag in Anantnag and Sangrama, Khwajabagh and Tehsil Road area. In Baramulla, CRPF personnel had to fire rubber bullets and tear gas shells to disperse the stone pelters. And for more on this, we are now joined on the phone line with our correspondent from Srinagar, Irfan Quraishi. Irfan, what's the situation right now? Are the clashes still taking place?
All right, Sigbani, soon after the curfew was lifted today across Kashmir Valley, the heavy stone pelting, especially in the downtown area of Srinagar and in Tehsil Road, Baramulla, was reported, followed by the clashes from Anantnag. However, in different parts of Kashmir, from heavy to minor stone pelting and clashes with the security forces were reported today. And the clashes between the security forces and the protesters are continuing in Srinagar, in different areas of Srinagar, who were trying to march towards the Eidgah, Martyrs graveyard, and were trying to hold an absentee prayer for the Afzal Guru who was hanged. So situation in Kashmir Valley seems, going tense as the protests are going on. However, there is no reports of any, casualty. However, few persons have got minor injuries in the clashes. In Baramulla, especially when a police convoy was traveling through the Tehsil Road, the protesters pelted stones on the police convoy, and the situation in Baramulla seems tense. And on the other hand, in downtown, the protesters carried march to the different areas of downtown, from Haval Chowk, then to Rajouri Chowk. So they clashes with the security forces were deployed in the area, and they resorted to the tear gas shelling and heavy rubber bullets to disperse the mob and try to get the situation under control. But at this time, what reports we have, that the stone pelting is going on in Baramulla and in downtown and also in Anantnag. However, so far, Sopore is concerned, which is the hometown of Afzal Guru, that is still under the siege and under the strict restrictions of security forces, followed by the army also. The army has put huge barricades and the people's movement are restricted. Even information from the Sopore that the Afzal Guru's area where Afzal Guru hails from, police has raided and detained many youth who are suspected of stone pelting and are involved in stone pelting activities. Yes, Sukhmani.
Irfan, what exactly are the demands of these protesters?
Absolutely, Sukhmani. The demand right from the separatists to the local people of Kashmir in the Guru has demanded the mortal remains of Afzal Guru. They want to bury Afzal Guru in Kashmir homeland, and for that they have already made a representation. State government has already made a representation on behalf of the family, as the family wrote letters to the Chief Minister. Then that was sent to the Delhi for further accommodation, and they demand the mortal remains of Afzal Guru should be handed over to the Kashmir so that he will bury it here. And this demand is bringing up in Kashmir Valley, and tension seems really going up so far as the demand of the mortal remains of Afzal Guru is concerned. So, as we know, the separatist leader Said Gilani was under house arrest in Delhi, and they have also extended a strike call against the hanging and in favor of the demand of mortal remains of Afzal Guru. And the situation will be really critical for the state government when the Gilani will be back to the valley, and they will go for a new candidate, which is believed to be in upcoming days. And it is a great time for the state government to tackle the situation and maintain the law and order. However, the frequent curfews for the 7th consecutive day across Kashmir Valley, the government somehow, is successful to maintain calm. However, minor clash erupts in Kashmir Valley. But today, after curfew was lifted, it is really a great time for the state government to think how to get the situation under control. Yes.
Right, Irfan, thank you so much for joining us from Srinagar there. So that's the news just coming in. Violence again returned to the valley as an attempt was made to bring normalcy to the strife-torn region after the curfew was lifted. Today, however, clashes broke out in parts of Kashmir Valley and Srinagar against the hanging of Parliament attack case convict Afzal Guru. However, so far, no injuries have been reported as a result of these clashes so far.